Hi, I'm Ruber Canese, a life coach based in Nashville, Tennessee, and my focus is on personal story development. In this video, I'm going to talk a bit about what personal story development is and why it can be so helpful for almost anyone. So, at a high level, personal story development is the process of mapping out our passions, struggles, and goals, and then mapping out the connections between them so we can get a clear sense of where we are in our life journey and what next step we'd like to take. The process of personal story development generally starts by mapping out our self story. And we can do so by asking a few questions, such as: who am I? What do I do? Why do I do the things that I do? What do I put my time and energy toward? What are my primary motivations? What are my passions and why do I love these things so? What are some of my greatest struggles from the past and what have I learned from them? What are my current struggles? What are my goals, hopes, and dreams? As an example, I'll talk about myself as a climber. So let's pretend I didn't discover that my passion is life coaching and climbing is the center of my world. It's all I really want to do. In answering these first order questions, I would describe how I put all of my energy into climbing because it makes me feel so alive. I might talk about my struggles with physical injury and how I've learned to respect my own physical limitations. In terms of current struggles, I might mention that it's hard to make a living while I'm putting so much of my time and energy into this sport. And perhaps my hopes and dreams are to make my lifestyle more sustainable. So, as we map out these first order questions, our self story begins to take shape. Now we can begin to draw connections between our answers to these questions and start to answer some second order questions, such as: do I have a clear sense of why I'm doing what I'm doing? Do I have a deep sense of fulfillment? And am I living up to my potential? Do I find myself in a position to direct my energy in accordance with my passions? Am I directing my energy based on what I've learned from past struggles? Am I making clear progress towards my stated goals? As we start to answer these second order questions, we should get a clear sense of where we're at and what we might want to work on. We can then pick whatever stands out as most important or most appropriate to start with and get to work. Revisiting my example from earlier, as I start to answer these second order questions, it becomes clear something is missing. I know my lifestyle isn't sustainable and I know I could be doing more. Although my energy is aligned with my passion, I can also see that a lot of my energy is going into worrying about my future. But as I look at my past struggles with physical injury, I start to see a path towards fulfillment and sustainability. I might decide I want to become a physical therapist who specializes in climbing injuries, so I can help other climbers get the most out of their passion. Although this wasn't exactly what I expected to be doing, I realized that this would be extremely fulfilling for me, as helping others to experience the magic of climbing is in many ways even more fulfilling than directly experiencing it for myself. So I decided my next step should be to find a climbing injury specialist and ask them for advice on how I can follow that path. With a much clearer sense of how I should be directing my energy on the whole, I find that I'm no longer bleeding energy to worries about an unsustainable lifestyle. And although I may not have quite as much time for climbing while I'm in school, I know that overall my energy is being directed much more productively. So, hopefully, that simple example helped illuminate how the process of personal story development can help people gain clarity on how they want to get from where they are to where they want to be and discover that path that's going to be both fulfilling and attainable.